what is going on. Thank you all for joining. We'll be starting here shortly. We're just wanting to YouTube everything popping and all the notifications going out. So we'll start here in a minute. Thank you for everyone who's just hanging out in chat. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off right. The first transition. Welcome to Take Radio! I'm Frank, KG5HJ, and you know what that means. It's time for me. We're live Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, because everything's Central Time. And I got something special for you right after the promo video, or the intro video. And just like always, play that awesome intro video!
Dad, there's an important letter from Uncle Frank.
What does he want? Uncle Frank. It's about the YouTubers HamFest coming up in May.
Welcome to the weird part of the internet.
Now that all the conventions have opened back up, we're not doing a YouTubers HamFest.
Nah, that means we're gonna be hamming harder this year.
This is NJ7V, hamming harder.
NJ7V, this is KF7RYX. You are on the local repeater. This is not hamming harder.
W7NRS, NJ7V, hamming harder.
NJ7V, this is W7NRS. I'm standing right next to you. This is not hamming harder.
Hey, antenna boy, turn your antenna towards Connecticut so you can hear me.
You gotta ham harder, Don. Ham harder, ham harder.
Announcing the third annual YouTubers HamFest for 2022, chasing the gray line.
No, not chasing buses. Gray line. Hayden, got you in the logs finally, brother. Thanks.
Hayden, why aren't you in my logs yet? I know you're there.
I don't know why you're not in my log. Are you not hamming hard enough?
Hayden is in my logbook. Or was it that guy from New Zealand? One of those guys.
Hayden actually is in my log because I'm good at my job. My amateur job.
Please join us on Friday, May 27th through to Sunday the 29th as we go through your favorite.
Please join us Friday, May 27th through Sunday, May 29th.
To take a look at some of your favorite radios, antennas,
Cables?
Did someone... You hear that? That's the sound of cheap coax. Don't buy cheap coax.
and let's not forget about all of your favorite ham radio gadgets. Did somebody say solar panels?
Somebody say wire strippers?
Did someone say OP1 and Flipper Zero?
That's not a QRP radio.
Don't forget to get your transmitters ready for an FT8 off.
That's a QRP radio.
Along with interviews from ICOM, Yaesu, ARRL, and me interviewing the Parks on the Air officials to learn more information about the program.
And finally, we'll be highlighting the most interesting videos and people from ham radio.
That's right, we found the Smoking Ape's real name. It's Clarence.
You know, I was gonna read this, but everyone else's is so funny. What the heck?
Don't forget to bring your favorite snacks and beverages for the Friday night happy hour. I'll be bringing my favorite drink, Malort.
Mine's tea.
I'll bring my favorite drink, which is water, and the tears of my enemies.
I'm bringing my favorite IPA.
And I'll bring the cigars. And don't worry, unlike the FCC, we're fee-free.
So please come by and see me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
And me.
And all of us.
On Memorial Weekend for the 3rd annual YouTubers HamFest of 2022.
We are chasing the gray line for the 3rd annual YouTubers HamFest for 2022.
Come get some.
Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You can support me on Patreon. There is a link in the description below. And to all my tankers out there, go forth and conquer. What is up? Thank y'all for joining. Man, oh man, that was an awesome trailer, man. I wonder who wrote that. I don't know who wrote that, but man, that was so much fun seeing all that. And what is going on to everyone out there in the YouTube lands? I see everyone in chat. Thank you so much. Beer abuse, Lionel says. No, it was not beer. I will be releasing my full audio or full clip of that probably here in the next couple of weeks. And there is a visual gag in there. I wonder how many of y'all can eventually see that. I got a low audio. I can fix that because I turned it down. I thought I turned it down for when I did my intro. Hey, what is going on? Do I have this? Let's see. That is kind of low. But anyways, I'm going to look into that here in a minute. But why is it low? Hello? Testing. This was working light. Unhide filters. Well, I am just going to bring Steve on while I go ahead and poke some audio settings. So let's look at here. It's a little too early there. Transition. Steve, what is going on? How are you doing? Give me an audio.
I am sore, brother. I am very sore, actually.
You're sore.
Yeah, I've been out back digging a hole for my tower. So a little bit of what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yes.
But
go ahead, and I'm just going to give you the reins while I poke at some audio settings locally.
All right.
So take it away. Second screen, zoom. I'm not seeing it right.
Yep. Okay. So they're saying I sound good. So it's something on your end. Not sure what you did. But Evan's saying I'm hot. Well, yeah, it was almost 80 here to get today. So yes, Ape, I got a tower. And actually, let me throw a share up over here. I have a step IR 4-element Yagi that's going to go up on top of it. And I did actually just get the 2030 or the 3040 loop for it.
Mike. Oh.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Whole lot hotter there.
I'm dropping it down some. Okay. There we are.
So.
Hi, what is up? Thank you for holding that up. Before we really start off today's subject here, I do wanted to say thank you to all my Patreons out there. I have a Patreon page. Go out there, subscribe to it. The link is in the description below. And also there's Buy Me a Beer, and I'm still selling my coins. My coins are still around. Woo! Those on Jason's page, Grapevine Amateur Radio, and my audio podcast. Since coming up in a couple of weeks is the HamFest. Are you going?
I am not. I will be in DC the very next weekend, so I can't get the time off to do both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I understand. You are doing something cool, so if you want to tell us, you can tease that a little bit later. But I'm going with Jason, and that's what the 7 o'clock stream over on Ham 2.0 is going to be about. And I got a cool idea. The last Hamvention was Orlando, and I was thinking about taking all of the interviews I did cut them together into a audio podcast. I'm releasing that on the audio podcast that's probably going to drop the week before, so that'd be this actual week. So I need to get my button gear to do that, and that'd be fun to just go over and revisit some of the past interviews I've done on the HamFest and see what's going to change. So that a little refresher there. So that would be fun, and that's going to be on my audio podcast. It's any audio app out there. You go search Tank Radio. It's in iTunes. How did I do that? I don't know. Google and or Amazon and a bunch of others out there. Daniel says, pretty sure Tank Radio traumatized his mic with his emphasis. You know what? That has happened a couple of times, and that's how I fixed it so fast, because I knew to go back in there and turn off the auto leveling thing and then turn it back on, and then it's fine for a while. But let's go ahead and get on today's subject. We're talking about kind of you're in the process of doing your shack build out, and I would like for you to come in and just tell us, give us kind of like just a walkthrough of what you've done and pictures and share, and later I like to maybe go back and lessons learned. I love lessons learned, and because especially I'm about to do this all myself when I come back from Huntsville, so I need to know these things.
Why you wait until Huntsville? I mean, that's end of August, isn't it?
I need to save up a couple more paychecks before I can start buying stuff.
That's understandable. That's understandable. So yeah, I am on what's this, iteration 4 of my shack now, because it's also my studio. Had to rearrange because of a little incident with somebody walking in the door on a live stream. But yeah, I got in a little bit of trouble because somebody told on me.
Oh no!
The XYL was not happy.
Oh no!
So yeah, which is why I face this direction now. So you see my closet behind me and my 3D printer. The 3D printer is actually going to go in a shelf or on a shelf in that closet soon.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Got to get everything else cleaned up, and this became the storage room for some reason.
That's what my old office just over there turned into. Storage.
Yeah. Well, we had to move everything out of our guest room because my sister-in-law came for Easter with the nephew. So yeah, it was throw everything in here and close the door because he couldn't open it.
Yeah.
And I just haven't had a chance to move it because I had to go back to the office.
Well, hey, man, a 3D printer is nice to have behind you, especially if you have it going and doing things.
But as for the shack, so the first thing I did, let me grab my photos over here. I went ahead and did the KF7P panel, the entrance panel. If I had it to do over again, yes, I would still order his panel, but I would have put it on the other side of that window because I'm actually looking at that window and it's on the far side of that window from me. So I've had to run everything underneath that window in the house. But the strap is coming in to a copper pipe that's mounted just below the window that comes up to my actual ground system.
I like that. And it's a large copper plate. I looked at some other plates out there. They were mounting brackets that were copper that you could also like bolt into for your copper strap.
Where's this one? I don't know why it's not transitioning my photos, but so that's actually mounted on the side of my desk. And then each wire goes to either my radio, my tuner, the Step IR controller, and then I've got to run, I'm actually going to get a piece of flat copper to run down the wall to the pipe that's mounted at the floor. But that's where I'm at on the grounding side.
Pull up your box again if you don't mind.
Yeah. That picture is, where did it go? There it is.
So, what grounding lightning rod mounts you went with? So you got two of them there.
Yep. So that's the polyphasers,
Mhm.
because they've got the replaceable gas tubes in them,
Mm-hmm.
and they just mount on with a quarter 20 bolt to that copper plate. So I just had to drill a couple holes. There will be probably two more going in there, as well as the lightning arrestor for the step IR that I know is not technically needed. Oh, Don, you might be right. I think those might be alpha deltas, actually.
The arresters, alpha delta
Yeah.
arresters.
Alpha deltas.
Hmm.
I got to go back and look, but I do have extra gas tubes for them because
I will be buying polyphasers, and that I looked at diamonds, and I was really looking hard at diamonds, but I did not like how you needed. They will mount to something, but that mount won't be the grounding mount. You will have to run another copper cable or braid cable to your grounding plate. And that's why I ruled those out for my use. So I probably will get something similar, if not to the same as what you got there.
Yep.
Now that flat copper braid, does that go all the way to your grounding plate in your shack?
So that actually goes to a copper pipe that's in my shack. That's mounted about 2 inches above the floor. And then I've got another copper braid that right now runs off of that up to my tuner, or actually to my radio, because I just added the other plate. Where'd it go? That plate. I just added that to my desk. So, like I said, I've got to get the copper strap to go from that down to the pipe. So, but yeah, that's what I've done so far for grounding. Well, and I did actually, I have bonded. How many ground rods did I do? I think 10.
10.
Yep. So I did a grounding rod about every 10 feet. And I actually have it bonded to the entrance panel because my electrical comes in on the opposite side of my house.
I'm in the same way, and I'm getting paint up, and I'm pre-drawing a couple of things here real fast.
Yep.
And we're gonna explain what you kind of did here and with my example. Where's red? So let me go ahead, and I am going to share left screen, and I need to turn you
kill
on.
my share there.
Boom! Look at that! I did a thing. So I'm gonna make this a little bigger. We're gonna zoom in, zoom out. That works. All right. For this is my example. I have the house and antennas are going to be mounted here, and my main input, like yours, is for the house. The input for the electricity coming into the house is on the other side of my ham shack, or on the other side of where I'm mounting those project boxes that you are just showing on screen. So the lightning arresters and everything will be on this side with the chimney. I'm going to put a C for chimney. Chimney. Bam. Ah!
How did I not?
So what you were just saying, in order to run the ground, because we want a common ground between our lightning arresters and its ground rod, and the ground coming into the house need to be on the same lightning potential plane. Is that called bonding?
Bonding, yeah.
Yep. You'll need to run what gauge copper cable did you do?
So I did, I believe it's number 4 copper.
Number 4?
Yep, it's solid copper. And I did a ground rod, I think every 10 feet, because they're 8-foot rods. So you don't want them too close together, according to actually this book.
Ooh.
Grounding and Bonding for the Amateur Radio, and that is 2nd edition. Thank you, good game. He hooked me up with that. So I took and I got them just outside of where they would interact with one another,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually drove them in with a demolition hammer.
See, that was something I also wanted to get to. So let's put a pin in that. So
Okay.
so the bonding would be, you got to connect both of these potential planes. Wow, that is small. We're gonna make it thicker all the way around the house
Mhm.
to the grounding rod that comes into the house.
Correct.
And whatever that footage is, I like your idea. I see. I was thinking about doing 10 feet also. There's going to be another grounding rod ran into the ground. What you're bolted, connected, not soldered or welded, bolted, connected.
Well, you can weld if you use CAD welds,
Mm.
the one-shot CAD welds,
Mm-hmm.
because that makes a permanent connection. It is not welding in the sense of what we normally think of with welding. It's thermite welding.
Thermite welding.
Yeah. So
I like the
explosives.
sound of this already.
Not when you look up the price of those, you won't.
Oh, you know what?
They're pretty pricey.
If I could figure out how to do it with tank radio money, then we'll do it and just put it on stream because why not? So that being said, I think I am going to need, because this is even before the antenna and the tower and everything. This is just for the ground potential for the house. 4 to 6 or 7 different rods. And what were you saying that you were using to drive them in? Because that was something I also was curious about on how to put them in there. You might have like sometimes there's like a sprinkler or a hose that you can ram into the ground and use water pressure to bore out the hole as you go down.
So this is what I used. Yeah, I'll show it. Well, so that is a Bauer demolition hammer. It's a hammer drill basically that I can put on just hammer mode with a ground rod driver on it. And you can see there's my entrance panel with one ground rod at it, and then just past my AC unit, and then this one's closer to the corner of the house. And you can see the wire I've got just laying on the ground at the time of that picture. It is now buried completely.
So that's where it's about to go. How far did you go? Did you leave them about an inch or two sticking out, or did you put them all the way down?
Oh no, they are fully sunk. I did go completely below the grass because I do have to mow that area. And yeah, I don't want to hit a ground rod with my mower. Would not be good.
I agree.
Don's right. You can rent a hammer drill at Lowe's or Home Depot if the Lowe's in your areas actually rent tools. The ones in my area do not. I'd have to drive to Charlotte to rent a tool from Lowe's. And yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, AJ, I did have pine trees. They got deleted.
Oh,
not that long ago. Well, for good reason. They were blocking my solar panels.
Bye. Thanks for knowing you.
Yep. So
I can understand now. It's 45 Auto says thermite burns at 3,000 degrees. Cool.
And you can do it by hand if you want. But I have a clay layer about 3 foot down. And I knew that from when I put up my DX Commander, because I put that on just a piece of top rail, and I just kind of shoved that into the ground and pulled it out, cleaned out the plug, and kept going till it.
Someone else said, Ranting Raven says, T posthole driver. I not in Texas. Not in Texas.
I was gonna say I used to live in Corpus Christi. It's pretty rough soil. But yeah, if you wet it, wet the ground around where you're going to put the rod, it does go in a little bit easier. But yeah, that hard clay layer, I spent about 15 minutes just trying to break through that clay layer with the hammer drill. and that was per rod.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a lot of work driving those in, but they are about an inch below the grass level now.
That's all the way down.
Yep. And then the actual copper wire is also an inch or two below.
So did you rent a trencher to trench that out?
Nope. Bought a flat trenching shovel.
Uh-huh.
So just a square bladed shovel, and just basically cut the ground, rocked it a little bit, stuck it in, and then stepped on it. and that worked. Do I have, let me see if I've got the picture of the shovel, because I actually shared a picture today in the HRCC podcast channel, because I was working on that hole. You can't see the shovel, it's behind me. But right now, I am about thigh level, so a little over 3 foot.
You're not sharing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's not a great picture, but I'll share it. What the hell? So thigh level in the hole.
Uh-huh.
Because I was listening to the HRCC podcast, and Leia was talking about, oh yeah, sure, just you put up a tower, and I was like, here's the hole you have to dig for a 50-footer. You know, it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
But you know, I'm going through and I'm trying to do it right.
Ooh,
hey, someone bought you coffee.
Thank you, someone. I appreciate it.
But yeah, it's definitely taken time, you know, and I got the tower for free.
Nice.
I just had to convince the lady selling the house I could take it down without damaging the house. I did buy a new base plate for it because I didn't like the bolts they had in it. They had just put concrete taps into the driveway at the house that it was up at.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually got, let me see. Yep, hang on.
Mm-hmm.
These are 1/2-inch bolts that are a foot long that will actually go into the concrete.
What's with the J at the bottom?
So the concrete sits there, and then where the tower sits is actually threaded. So even if you were to pull this out, it would, with the L on it or the J, it would pull the concrete. And I am 4 foot down with rebar.
So you drill a hole, you put that in there, and then you fill it up again with cement, or?
Oh, no. That will actually go on a plate that when I pour the concrete, that bolt will be in the concrete. So the concrete will get poured over it.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Nifty.
it's going to take a lot to take that tower down.
Mm-hmm.
And a buddy of mine and I are actually building a freestanding support for it, so I don't have to tie it to the house. And that will be held to the concrete with 4 of those bolts.
Mm-hmm.
So in total, there will be 7 holding the plate and, tower assembly. Because there's 3 in the base of the tower that'll sit on top of the plate, and then 4 in the plate. So yeah, I'm hoping I never have to test it, but I'm thinking, a hurricane will twist the tower before it will pull the concrete up.
Yeah.
But the tower I got is a Aluma tower, 50-foot crank up with a tilt over base.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a hurricane coming, as long as I don't need the tower up, I will have it laid down in the backyard.
And then when the hurricane's done, you run out there, put it back up, and start calling CQ.
That's it.
I love it. No, you said crank up? It's one of these crank ups?
Yep. Right now it's a manual crank. I do have a couple of 12-volt winches that I'm thinking about putting one on for the tilt and one for the crank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm debating on that still because the tower's not that heavy. The step IR is 110 pounds because it's the 4 element. and that was the other reason the trees had to come down. So I had the turn radius for the step IR. So yeah, that was that. But the step IR, I actually found on the QTH.com swap shop, and I was surprised at the price on it. It's an older 4-element, but it was in decent shape. I have had to repaint the poles, which is, I actually have them here. I tied them up on my porch awning just so they're out of the way.
That's pretty cool. Hold on.
But
there's a shared. I didn't click the
Okay.
transition.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty handy how you have them out of the way there and just tie them up.
They're out of the way. They're just past where my grill sits, but they're high enough up that I don't hit my head on them. And those were painted with a boat fiberglass paint because those were pretty weather checked. And then, of course, it doesn't want to transition my pictures again. Hang on. Okay, this one. Go back to my share. And
there's working now.
I got a box from Step IR with the new poles, new controller because I added the 3040 loop.
Nice.
So I had to buy the new controller. That is the boom disassembled. Just to give you an idea of, I think that's 34 feet when it's all assembled.
Oof. Is that going to be in the middle of the tower?
That is going to be
rotate the boom inside the tower.
Well, that's going to be at the top of the tower.
So you're going to have that's going to be another 30 feet on top of the tower.
Well, so the boom is horizontal to the tower.
Okay. I'm tracking.
Yep. So, and AJ, yes, I will be able to lower the tower when hurricanes come, if they come. And I do not need to guy it because of the freestanding base that we're designing for it, or actually borrowing Luma Tower's design. They just don't know it, So, but there is the rebar cage that's going in the hole.
Nice.
And that is 4 foot tall. Anybody want a Volkswagen Bug? I've got most of the parts for it. I'll make you a deal on it. So, yeah, it's.
So what is your plan to ground the tower?
So actually, yeah, there's the tower where I picked it up from. And that's my dad standing next to the ladder. Dad's 6'5".
Wow.
So you can see at the bottom there's a hand crank. And unfortunately that cubicle quad was destroyed by wind.
Oh.
So that did not make it. And the poles on that were very weather checked. That was a 20-foot trailer that I had the tower on. Yeah, I came home in the dark. I was impressed I was able to back it into the backyard without hitting anything.
That's a talent, backing up trailers. I had it for a while, but no longer.
The tower came with a rotator and the controller. I did do a video on rebuilding the rotator. So that's on my channel.
I need a link to your channel.
Bad
me.
Yep. There's the controller that works great. It's older, but it works. And then, yeah, that's all tower pictures. Let me stop my share real quick and see. Yeah, then I've got other step IR pictures, and here's the hole. Just to give everybody a top-down view. Right now, that's about 3 foot deep. And it's 30 by 30.
Digging it by hand?
Digging it by hand. That's why I'm hurting.
Yeah.
Is you can see the clay down there at the bottom. I'm about a foot through the clay, and I still have another foot to go. So yeah, that's
I think Don said buy an auger or rent a auger.
yeah. I've had that suggestion a couple of times. Yeah, Don, that car is in the backyard, and I have no HOA.
Yeah, that was my
But
next one.
yeah, no. The floor pan, which is the main frame of the car, is actually on my driveway on a couple of engine stands right now
Mm-hmm.
because I put new floor pans in it. Because when I went to clean the car out, yeah, I fell through.
Oops.
Little problem with the Volkswagens. The floor pans tend to rust out. And as for grounding the tower, that copper wire actually runs right about here at the edge of the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be able to tie into the ground system right there.
Are you going to do a lightning arrestor at the bottom or base of that tower also?
I hadn't thought about it because I have the one in the entrance panel.
You have it in the entrance panel, but you can also do at the base because you don't want the lightning to run all the way to the entrance panel and then down to your grounding rod.
This is true.
So that's the thing I was thinking about, and my tower is going to be we're going to go back over here, left screen. I have a fence line, black fence line here, and I was going to put my tower. We're going to make the tower green. Nope, that's black. Get off and blue. Here, my tower is going to be out here, and since it's so far apart, and I'm going to run my coax cable, of course. We need coax a different color, gray. It's going to come out and then into the entrance of the house. I was going to have another grounding rod over here by the tower. So coming off the tower and off the antenna, the coax is going to come down. I'm going to bolt a lightning arrestor onto it, and it's going to be gone straight to its grounding rod. Then potentially, the cable itself is going to be grounded again through a lightning arrestor here by the house base. So that should connect through the ground between the two to each other. So I am hoping that that's going to provide that common connection for the ground potential between all the grounding rods and my green grounding cable around my house. No lightning should go over that because it should then short out the cable or short out the lightning arrestor and go to the grounding rod.
I'm not an expert on it, but I think that ground rod actually needs to be bonded to the others.
Mm-hmm.
And you may run into an issue with your tower there. Check your local ordinances.
Non-HOA, but yes, you're right about ordinances.
If it falls and hits your neighbor's property, who's responsible?
Neighbor. It's on his land. I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, so Texas has the same law South Carolina and Florida do? Anything that falls in their property is their problem?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But no, you're right. You're right. I'm going to be a good neighbor. I use tower loosely. It's going to be a fencing poles that is going to be stacked on one on top of the other. I'm not going to have a tower. They'll probably go up about 30 or 40 feet. So
I would probably do a push-up mast then.
Mm-hmm.
Do something that's made for ham radio, because if you do more, are you talking fence top rail or?
Yeah, fence top rail. You have about 3 different sizes of 10-foot sections. So this is how Jason did it, and it's pretty cool. So you have the large section, that like 4-inch top rail, a 3-inch top rail. You put a bolt about like a foot down from the top of it, then put the 2-inch rail on top of it, then you another bolt through it. So it's resting on a bolt. You drill through, and you put another bolt through it, and then it has that foot for better balance, and then you do it again at the top, and you do it again. So you have 3 inches, 2 inches, and 1 inch to hold everything up.
Okay. Yeah, because I tried to help a local ham and good friend put up an off-center fed
Mm-hmm.
at her place so she could get 80.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did 3 pieces of the fence top rail that slipped together,
Mm-hmm.
and it got very wobbly because it only slips together about 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that didn't work out well.
That's why I was going with the different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put it in there a solid foot. And
Solid foot, yeah.
then you have a bolt that it sits on. Then I take my screwdriver and I drill through, and then I put another bolt to hold it.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I didn't see asked with that tower, since my tower is a tilt over,
Mm-hmm.
but it tilts over at ground level.
So it will crank all the way up,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can crank it all the way down, and then you can pull a foot, and then it will just lean down.
Yep. So and of course you can't really see it in the pictures that I have, because it's a 3-legged tower. I was looking to see if I had a good picture of the base, and I don't. But I undo one bolt, and it hinges on the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
So at ground level. The problem is with that step IR, the poles on that step IR are 17 foot either side of the boom.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boom is like 32 feet. So that's still going to be 16 feet in the air when I try to tilt it down. So I have this idea for this plate. This will be mounted to the actual pole on the tower that goes into my rotator, and then through this little bad boy, it will rotate and will keep my step IR horizontal to the ground.
So
as I lower it.
So you are going to. This is already collapsed. You got your tower. You're going to lower it, and then when you get close to the bottom, you're going to take your antennas like this, and then you're going to fold it on itself like that.
The weight of the antenna should allow it to fold onto itself.
I like this idea.
So it will lay completely flat in the backyard.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like it.
There is a company out there that makes the tilt plate. But I'm frugal. Let me just say it. I'm cheap.
Welcome to Ham Radio, the majority of us are.
I could. What I have in parts for this one, I have not even come close to 1/10 of what they want for their plate.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got to take the time and drill all the holes and get everything mounted, but it makes for good YouTube content.
Oh, it does. It does.
So, and the first time the tower goes up, it will be on video.
Yes, live stream it.
Hey, that's an idea.
Mm-hmm. Ed said, what about a shack on the second floor? Welcome to my world. I am on the second floor. I don't think a lot of it changes with a shack being on the second floor. You just got to go run your ground and everything out and then drop it all the way down to the ground. But here's the caveat. You want the shortest path if you're going to have an antenna on top of your house, which I am going to have a 2-meter 440 on the top of the house. You don't want that antenna coming in straight to the house immediately, because that means the lightning potential or energy is going to be, well, we're not going to try to talk about direct strikes, but mid strikes will generate enough charge on it where it will trip that lightning arresters, and you want all that energy to be outside. So you were showing that project box earlier. That's going to be outside and before coming into the house. So then you're going to have your lightning arrestor. Then you're going to drop your thick copper wire all the way down to the ground and to your lightning rod. You don't want that antenna coaxial cable coming into the house until it's ran through that lightning arrestor.
And actually, let me get back over to
Plasma. Thank you for joining.
So here is that box picture.
One second. Yep. Got it.
and you can actually see, did it transition? There it is. So behind the coax that used to run to my DX Commander, which is why it's unplugged. Thank you to my tree guys. There is that thick copper wire running out and down, and that runs to the ground rod.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually connected to the plate right down here in the corner.
Mm-hmm. And that's bolted again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's bolted. Nothing's soldered or, it's all mechanical connections.
Mm-hmm. Because if you solder it, even with some of the solder, if lightning near strikes again, because direct strikes, whatever you do, it's pretty much out the window. It does what it wants. That solder will instantly vaporize, and then guess what? You have no connection, and guess where it's going to go after that? Into your house.
Oh, yeah. And as for my 2 meter, right now, I have an Edfong J pole mounted up on the side of the house.
That's a great antenna.
And I just did that to a TV antenna mount, right into the siding. And that vent that you see just below it is actually my bathroom vent.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to vent it out through the eave. And I said, sure. Tell me how you're going to get up there. Because, the peak of the roof is 30 foot. And that's as high as I could get up with my ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So I have over in my shack is a flat ceiling, but the rest of my house has vaulted ceilings. And so above my shack, I probably have 15 foot between the shack ceiling and the actual roof.
Mm-hmm.
And no place to put a ladder inside the attic to get up to the eave. So,
yeah. Do you have a chimney on your roof?
So I have a fireplace insert.
Uh-huh.
Which means I have what looks like a chimney, but it's just a big open space. And the actual chimney itself is just a metal pipe in the middle of it.
Ah.
So it's not very secure. And it's a whole another conversation for another time.
So here is my roof of my house. I put the center line for the roof, and there's my chimney here. And I am going to put up a 1 inch or 1.5 inch 10-foot or 8-foot pole on top of that, and then I'm going to just have the 2 meter 440 antenna bolted to the side of there, and that's going to drop down to a project box below it. I am planning on running, because I only want to really do this once, 4 or 5 coaxial cables at once, and just maybe having some sitting up in the roof when I'm ready. And to run them and get them going. But I just want to do this stuff once. And my idea is when I'm done, though, I want to have 2 coaxial cables at the lower project box. I'm getting that later if we want to. I could have auxiliary plugins. So I want to set up the XD Commander outside temporarily. I could go ahead and do that. I run the cable to the auxiliary 1. I come up here, flip to auxiliary 1, click. And then I'm off to the races. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get that inside, or I'm going to operate inside today or outside. So that is my thought. So
this is the satellite view of my house from Google. That chimney is right here in the center. And where we're looking, my AC unit and my entrance panel are over here on this side. My electrical entrance comes in out here on the opposite side of the garage. So I literally had to come all the way around the back.
I know your pain.
And these trees were 85 feet tall, which make great supports for wire antennas. The problem is they were too close together for me to string anything between them. So they had to come down, as well as you see the solar panels on the roof. Yeah, notice they're in complete shade in this picture.
Yeah. Well, ooh, I take those trees out in an instant.
Yes, it has made a big difference. I do need to get on the roof and actually clean my solar panels.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this fat kid does not like being on the roof because I have a steep roof.
You tell me. Every time I go on the roof, I have people tell me I need to go back up there more often. And
you notice I have no videos of me on the roof.
yes, they will love you to do that.
No, not gonna happen. Sorry, guys, just not gonna happen.
And especially do your shouting intro videos while the neighbors look on. Oh, that crazy man's up on his roof again. Left
Yeah,
screen.
my neighbors all know me, and they know. I said, if you get anything crazy with your TVs, your radios, let me know, and we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. So here is my chimney. Here's that center line. The chimney's right here. We see the shadow of the chimney, and I am going to have that 6 to 8 foot pole on top of it, and that's going to drop down. I'm going to plan to put a antenna up here between these trees on this fence line, and then run the coaxial cable on the top of the fence line till to the side of the house here. And then I'm going to trench it down a couple of feet, miss my sprinkler system, and come back up. And that is my plan right now. And like you said, antenna system coming into the house here, electrical box over here. So it's got to run out around the house and to the electrical box. And I'm just going to say this. You're doing it right. I'm doing it right. At least what we perceive that's right, because you ask any ham out there what's the best way to ground, and you're going to get 3 answers out of the single ham. You ask a crowd of hams, you're going to be there forever.
That's a logarithmic scale.
Yes. Yes.
So
the one thing I just want to iterate out of all those, they all agree, never run your ground wire through the house in this situation. You don't want that electricity, that energy going through your house to find the ground system. That's why you want to keep it outside the house, where it's outside. It can spark out there. We don't care. And it's not coming in here. Jason, you're never last. You're always first in my book, man. All of y'all are first in my book.
Wait, so that means Jason's on bathroom detail?
Yes.
If he's part of the clubhouse stream, if he's last, he's on bathroom detail.
Don, thank you for posting the link. I have it here. I'm going to put it up in the description. I should have done that before. I'm sorry, Steve.
You're good.
Any other points you want to bring up? We got about 7 minutes left here.
So I do have one other thing that I'm running the shack on.
Yes.
I took a page out. Well, no, I took a page out of Kyle's book and went Node Red.
Ooh.
So I've got some Node Red control through a Raspberry Pi and a relay board, and I can access that from pretty much anywhere. So if I have my station remoted and I'm doing, say, FT8 and I notice it hangs, I can just kill the power and it shuts the radio down.
Oh, that's nice. Did I have Kyle come on talk about Node Red? I need to do that if I haven't done that already. That is a great project. It's automation, right? And ham radio automation.
Yep. And there are guys that are doing a lot of it with flex radios. Go figure, because they're API based. But
didn't Flex open up their API to everybody? Here it is. Go have fun, figure it out.
Possibly, but the other nice thing is you can control the rotator, the step IR, all of it through Node Red. And actually, you can hook up, if you have a Stream Deck like I do, you can hook up your Stream Deck into Node Red and change direction, and as well as a few other things. And Lon, yes, I did hire a company to take my trees down because I am not climbing an 85-foot tree that I knew had heart rot.
Ooh.
Yeah, I let those fools climb that thing.
Yep.
And one of the boys that climbed did not throw a safety line first.
No.
He hooked the safety line to his belt and spiked up the tree. when he got up on top of the tree, that's when he tied off. And I'm like, it's your life, not mine, you know. But yes, I was out there watching, and yeah, that 220 or 240 would be my next upgrade into the shack, in case I decide I want to get an amp, you know, or if somebody wants to gift me a Mercury 3. Don, here's looking at you. So,
well, all right, man. So this is the point of the show where I'm going to turn it over to you again. You already had it once, but go ahead and tell us what's going on in your world, Steve, and what you got going on, and where can we find you, and just anything else you want to plug.
Yep. So Steve, KO4AFL Ham Radio on YouTube, as well as Ham Radio Clubhouse on Tuesday nights. You'll find me there. I do have a video coming out on my grounding system because I owe that to Good Game. I'm also going to have the Step IR build as well as the tower. I have been kind of lax on recording while I've been digging because nobody wants to see that. You know, just me out there sweating is not a good look. But yeah, Tuesday nights, come join us on the Clubhouse. That's what we've got going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steve, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for sharing out what you've done so far with your project and some lessons learned, because I think it's important to reiterate that. I even asked I got some juniors at work for engineers, and after they solved a problem, I'm like, I want you to write down what's the lesson you learned, and we put it in the JIRA task just so I can go back and read it later. But it's also helps to reiterate that stuff so we can all learn from it. So
absolutely.
Thank you very much. Coming up next is Ham Radio 2.0 stream, where we're going to be talking about going to Dayton, Ohio. And I just dropped that link in there, and I'm going to transition to myself. So many things to look at. I need to clean this up. Thank you all for joining. One more time, I got some coins for sale still on Grapevine Amateur Radio website, and thank you to all my Patreons out there. Thank you to someone who donated me some beer. I do appreciate that. We will be using that over in Dayton. We got, I know it hasn't really been announced yet, but there is going to be meetups. I think the meetup's going to be Saturday night, and we're going to do some fun things all the way through. So come out and join us for that. And I think that's it. Audio podcasts, go listen to the audio podcasts. They're great. And thank you for watching. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. You can support me on Patreon. There's a link in the description below. And to all my tankers out there, go forth and conquer.